All right. Hopefully this starts to play. There it goes. Okay, so you are Garen into a Renekton.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Garen into a Renekton with a Nocturne, Malzahar, Jin Leona into
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Vayne and Nautilus. Alright, so right off the bat, I don't know why you're AFK so long, but right off the bat, you see a mid lane matchup that could go either way, but the Azir will scale harder than the Malzahar, so you want to be careful of that. You see a bot lane that kind of goes similarly. Jin Leona should win lane pretty hard, but if they don't, Vayne will start to scale, and Vayne can deal with you, a tanky Garen, so you have to keep that in mind. Nidalee likes to gank, so before you even start the laning phase, you gotta be thinking about Nidalee trying to gank and invade, and be careful about your top side. And then Renekton is a very aggressive lane bully that you need to get out of here. You need to go back to lane. Very aggressive lane bully that you don't want to let him get ahead. So that's kind of all the things going through your mind before the game even starts, right? So very first thing I'll tell you. Oh, why is it not pausing? There it goes. Very first thing I'll tell you. So you stayed here in this spot to place your ward, but the wave was already walking past you. So notice how I made a comment. I said you should already be in lane. You're getting to lane, and the minions are already here, and Renekton is already hitting them. So what that means is that Renekton is going to have killed maybe like 2 minions, or maybe even there's 3 minions before you even get to lane. And while it doesn't seem like a big deal, it's actually a huge deal, because every minion that you kill grants experience and gold, right? So we're not worried about the gold right now, we're about the experience. If Renekton gets like a 2 to 3 minion lead on you this early in the game, that means that he has 2 to 3 minions worth of experience. And because you level up from level 1 to level 2 in only 2 waves of minions, him being 2 or 3 minions up means that he's going to get level 2 while you're still level 1. And that means that the second he gets level 2, he's going to jump on you and chunk you out and then take control of the lane. So by staying at this blue buff for a little too long, you've potentially just already lost the early game of lane. And that's how decisive League can be sometimes, so I wanted to point that out. So it's not as bad, but so he has 1, 2, 3. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, like, it's not terrible. It's a 1 minion lead. It's gonna end up being basically nothing. But if the Renekton was smart and he shoved for a 2, 3 minion lead, 4 minion lead, because you came to lane late, he could have a huge advantage right now. Especially on a champ like Renekton that likes to push you off the wave and bully you. If he's level up, he does that very easily. Yep, so he got level 2, he chunked you out, you had a good trade and then walked away. But now see how he's zoning you off the wave? So this is what they do. So he got level 2 a little early, just like I said he would. And the second he got level 2, he walked up to you, did a full combo, and chunked you out. You were good to at least do your combo back. So the worst thing you can do, the absolute worst thing you can do if he does that is like just walk away. Because if you walk away, he got a whole trade for free. So at least you were smart enough to say, okay, well, he just traded, which means his abilities are on cooldown, so he can't damage me anymore. So you used your Q on him and auto-attacked him to get a trade and then walked away. And you used your Q attack movement speed to make sure that you could Q and then walk away safely. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but it was a good play. So that was fine. You dealt with that the best way you could. However, now that he's level 2, what he's going to do is he's going to step up to the front of the wave and what's called force you off the wave, right? So he's doing this because if he steps in the front, that means that if you want to get any minions at all, you have to walk past him. And he knows that at level 2, he out trades you right now. So basically, what he's doing, and I'm telling you this because one, you want to know what it is, and two, you can use it in your future games too if you get ahead in lane early. He's forcing you to have to walk into him to get any farm. So you have to make a choice now. Either A, I get no farm and I wait for the wave to push to me, or B, I go get farm but I get chunked out by this guy. And when you're already at half health, getting chunked out right now probably means you die. So that's what he's doing right now by stepping up to the front. He's forcing you to make that decision. And if he's smart, he's going to not farm these minions at all to make you have to stay in this position as long as possible. Because once he farms these 2 minions, the wave pushes and the lane resets, and he loses his control. Yes, notice how he's waiting. Perfect. So notice how he's waiting until the minions get as low as possible, then he's just last hitting for the gold. That means he's not pushing. And that means that he's trying to keep you in this position as long as possible. If he just went up and killed those 2 minions, he'd be misplaying this and he'd be pushing him. But that tells me that he at least knows a little bit of what he's doing in top lane. So, however, that being said, this is a good spot to be in for you. If the lane crashes here, it's not under tower yet, so he's going to be able to still poke you, but it leaves the game wide open to get ganked by your Nocturne, because the Renekton, now you can basically do the reverse to him. If he wants to farm, he has to stay right here. This is probably the most gankable position in the entire game. Nocturne can walk up either through the bush this way or through the river this way and gank the Renekton. And you're also level 2 now, so he still has an XP lead, meaning he's going to get level 3 before you, but he doesn't have a direct power lead right now. It's 2 versus 2. So what you can do is you want to keep the wave here as long as possible to try and make him get ganked. So every time he damages a minion, you want to do as close to the exact same damage to one of his minions. What this will do is it will keep the 2 waves even, and the longer they stay even, the longer the wave stays in this exact spot. And then if you can do even better, you can try and make a freeze, but I'm not going to get into that now because I don't think this is a very freezable spot in most games, so it's not worth trying to explain that in this situation. But while you're doing this, while you're keeping the lane minions at equal health to what he's doing to keep the lane here, you want to be pinging your Nocturne and say, hey, he's pushed up, this is an easy gank. So that's your goal right now. Try to keep the wave here, and then be pinging the Nocturne. Because this, if you gank the Renekton here, and you can deal with him, this changes the lane for the rest of the game. If you can get a lead on him now. Alright, so he did his job. So, like how I said, your goal was to try and keep the wave here. Well, Renekton does not want to be here. For the same reason I said you want him to be. It's easy to be ganked, and he knows that. So his goal is to try and kill your wave as fast as possible to push it under tower. And now that this wave is going to go under tower, the tower is going to hit it, and it's going to reset. And when the wave resets, it'll bounce back, and it will meet somewhere closer to the middle where he's more safe and more protected from ganks. So now you want to be careful. So obviously your goal is to last in under tower. You don't want to lose farm, but you're low health and you're leveled down. I don't think he would all in you right now under tower, because you can try and get a Q and just run away and the tower might kill him. But you gotta be careful. Like if you walk to the edge of the tower range, he might just jump on you and get a full trade combo on, because he knows he can get out of tower range quickly. So you've got to be careful about being dope now. What I would also recommend is if Garen's a champ that you're gonna want to play pretty often, what I would do, just go to a go to a custom game in the practice tool if you can. And so farming under turret it's a little hard, but it's the same for every champion. So like for Garen, there's always going to be a pattern you follow with like the caster minions versus the melee minions. It'll be like, oh, I want to let the tower hit it twice and then I auto for the melees, or let the tower hit it once then I auto Q for the casters to get a double auto attack reset off, something like that. And you'll find out the pattern that works for Garen just by going to a practice tool game, letting the wave crash at a tower and then practicing. I would do that if I were you, because that will just it'll let you figure out the exact like combo you need for each minion, and like how many tower shots you want to let it hit and how many abilities you need to use to get the farm, and then you can bring that to games and you'll get more farm in these situations, which always helps. See how the wave is back to the middle like I said it would? Okay, so Renekton won the trade. Now we're back in the same position we were. Let's see if we could have prevented that trade though. Okay, so like I said, he crashed the wave reset back to the middle. So here we are back in the middle of the map, or the lane rather. So, level 4, you have a chunk of health missing, which means Renekton's a lane bully. So whenever he sees an advantage in lane, whether that's he has a higher level or he has more health than you, he's going to jump on you and try and take advantage of it. So you have to be thinking right now that if you step up to get farm, he's just going to jump on you and trade you immediately. So you basically have two options. Either A, call for a gank, but the fact that Nocturne is all the way down here means that he's not going to be able to gank you right now. Or B, you try to stay away from the lane and only go in for last hits if you can help it. And then when he does gank, when you get close, you have to basically prepare for him jumping on you. And you want to make sure you can hit your W for tanking this as soon as possible. And then just Q him and use the movement speed to walk away and the silence to get away from him so he can stop doing damage to you. If you can help it, try to get the Q off as soon as possible because it'll silence him and it will make him not be able to keep casting abilities and chase you down. So walk up to minions, get the last hit, and be prepared to use Q on Renekton, use W on yourself, Q here, W here, and then just run away. And that's how you have to deal with this until either A, you get more health back through your passive, or B, Nocturne comes topside for a gank. And sometimes you're going to have to sack farm like that. It's just part of it happens. So that was good. So, okay, so that's the mistake. So right here, I'm gonna try and pause that a better time. Remember what I said, you want to Q, W, but then run away. He wins this trade. You don't want to stay for this trade. So here, this is perfect. So far, perfect. You immediately Q him. Absolutely perfect. That's going to silence him, and that's going to allow you to run away. Okay, you're stunned. That happens. See how you start to run? This is perfect. You start to run, but then you go back in. I want you to look at the health bars right now. See your health bar? Let's even not include your shield. So you have this much health missing. He has this much health missing. Your health is barely changed from when you started the trade. His health is way down. He had full health before this trade started. So far, you've won this trade. He's lost more health than you have. If you run away right now, you win the trade and you stay alive. And now he has less of a gap to work with to go in next time. This is perfect if you run away right now. However, if you stay and keep fighting, you're going to lose a lot more health and he's going to gain some back because he's better at the trade than you are. So you already, if you leave right now, you played this exactly perfectly. But if you stay and you keep fighting, that is when you lose the trade hard, and that's what he wants. Yeah, you turn back in and keep fighting. See how your E does almost 0 damage to him, but he was able to get the rest of his combo off, so he did a big chunk to you. That is the exact opposite of what you want. So, Renekton trades better than Garen does in lane. That's pretty straightforward. Like, you should be able to know that based off these two champions. So whenever you can avoid a long trade as Garen versus Renekton, especially level 4, always avoid it. Always, always, always. You played it right by Qing, Wing, and then running, but then you didn't just run out and be safe. You went back in and tried to E him. Well, your E does way less damage than his whole combo. So that's just not a good choice. Like, the amount of damage you had to put on him was nowhere near the amount of damage he had left to put on you, so you don't want to stay there. And now you're back in the same situation you were in before, where he has a big chunk on you. Oh, later. He has a big chunk on you, and he has the wave pushing. It's probably going to stop basically around right here again, where you're just going back to the same situation, where he's going to try and shove you off the wave and bully you out of lane. Yep, like I said, exact same situation last time. Your Nocturne's not here, so you can't call for him. That was fine. That was good. Now let's see about that last hit in the tower again. Yeah, so you'll learn, for example, that you needed to auto Q for that minion that you just missed, and like that's what you learn by going to the practice tool a little bit. That was better than last time. There you go. There's the auto cue. Good job. That's okay. So he's an idiot. He's a huge idiot. So he just took 2 tower shots. You want to just sprint on him and kill him right now. It's level 5. Level 5. He just took 2 completely unnecessary tower shots. When you first used your E a second ago, you want to stay on him. You want to chase him down the lane and kill him right now. With your E and W, you're tanky enough to not take a huge trade. You just want to Q him and keep autoing him. His health is low enough where you just straight up kill him right here. Okay, good. That's what you... Oh, no. Do it, dude. Do it. Kill him. Oh, no. Okay, so your Q gives you enough movement speed to catch up to him. If you just kept running in a straight line, you would have gotten in range of him, and your Q would have hit. And then at that point, you silence him so he can't get the stun off, and you just start autoing him to death. He's either going to die or he's going to have to dive away with like 0 health and back. You just shove him out of lane here, and that's huge because he's a lane bully. If he gets behind early game, he's screwed. Okay, good. You're trying to keep him off the wave as long as possible. This is good. See how he's gaining health back? This is what you wanted to avoid. You should have run him down that first chance. Now it's going to be harder and harder to do it. He's going to slowly come back. Yeah, so now not only have you lost your advantage, he actually has the health advantage again by a little bit. And now he's going to try and shove the wave till it resets. Yeah. That's unlucky. So now that I pointed that out, next time you're in a similar situation, you want to... Yeah, see how much damage you did? So just think about it. If you did that big fucking chunk to him last time that he was taking 2 tower shots, he would, I'm not even exaggerating, he would literally have that much health left, and you would just chase him down the lane and auto him to death. Hopefully next time you're in a similar situation, you'll recognize that now, and you can just chase him down and kill him and get a free kill early game. Alright, so he only do that 6. You want to go away. Yep. So that's a product of That's a product of what I would do if I were you. Can I see this? Okay, so is there a way for me to see your experience? No? That's annoying. Anyway, you know just from the whole laning phase, right? That he's always had the push on you. That means that he's going to have a slight experience lead over you. It's going to be pretty close, but he's going to have a slight experience lead. So, oh, it's right here. I'm stupid. All right, here we go. So, if you're really close to level 6, you know that he's a little bit closer. So, whenever you're about to get it, that's a good trick for you to say, like, oh, I know that Renekton's going to get 6 soon. And whenever Renekton gets 6, you know he's going to jump on you. Because Renekton at 6 just straight up beats Garen at 6. Especially if he gets 6 first, even if only for like a second, he's going to see 6 versus 5 and he's going to jump on you right there. So you should be thinking, I know that Renekton's going to jump on me soon, because you are almost level 6 and he's probably like here. So he probably needs like 3 more minions to get 6, 4 minions to get 6. So you've got to be thinking about that, because you know, and that's just in general, like no matter what champion you're facing, you have to be thinking about what is their power spike. And for Renekton right now, his next power spike is hitting level 6. So that's what should be on your mind, is watching for Renekton's level 6 and preparing for Renekton's level 6 to be safe. So you see it. Well, let's see how many more we need to take. So this is good. He makes a mistake of taking the power shot again. This time you capitalize on it, which is good. And this is where he regains the health. Right there. He got 6. He's 6. You're 5. But there's still a little health difference. So for you, in your head, you're saying, okay, next time Renekton heals and gains some health back, that little health disadvantage goes away, and now he's just level 6 against level 5. He's going to jump on me. So the second that Renekton goes in and cues the wave to heal, he's going to jump on you immediately, because he has the 6 versus 5 advantage. And you should know that. Like you should be thinking this in lane. And there he goes. He jumped on you because you walked in the middle of the lane. He can now cue you and the lane and get that heal at the same time as going in. So what did I say? I said the next time he heals, he's going to go in. Well, since you walked over all of your own minions, now he can do both in the exact same move. He can dive on you and then cue the wave and heal at the same time. So you allowed, by walking in these minions, you allowed him to trade you. If you just walked right here instead and were not in the minions and he only had this range to cue, he would not have dove on you because he needs the heal. So by you walking here is what just got you killed. Because you weren't thinking about what's the condition for Renekton to jump on me. It was, you already had level advantage, he just needed the heal. So you walked in the minions and gave him the heal. Yeah, I messaged it to you straight up. So the 2 ways we could have solved that is A, if we were thinking about the condition for him that Renekton wants for his power spike and we avoided walking into the minions there knowing he'd jump on us, or B, if you go back 2 minutes to the play where you could have run him down and killed him and you didn't. If you run him down and kill him there and then back and reset the wave, now you're a kill up, and that's a huge advantage for you over Renekton, and you clearly would not have died there if you had backed, bought, and were a kill worth of gold ahead of him. So those are the first 2 things to take out a lane. So you could have got yourself a kill, and you could have also saved yourself from getting him. And in a Renekton lane, that's huge, because he needs to get ahead to bully you, or else he does not do very well. Especially as a Garen, you can just kind of survive by just going even, and then being a big tanky dude late game. Alright, yeah, good. You don't want to push this if you can help it. Fine. Alright, there he is. He has Tiamat, we can tell that. What did you buy? Savage gas. This is good, this is good. You actually won that trade somehow. He's level 7 with Tiamat, level 6. That was really good. So that trade you did not win, but like I said, you're not really supposed to win it. If you can, oh, okay, hold on. This is scary. So, your jungler's level 4. Highlight again. Your jungler's level 4. Renekton's level 7. If you can help it, and sometimes you can't because it's up to your jungler, do not let your jungler face tank a bush blind with a 3-level up Renekton in it. Your jungler ganking is fine, but he should be behind you, and you should be the one tanking the bush, because you are a big tank Garen with over half your health left. He is a little squishy 3-level down Nocturne that's gonna get jumped on, stunned, and chunked out, and then Renekton's just gonna dash away, and then the whole gank's gonna fall apart. Alright, so he didn't check out the Nocturne. I'm assuming he just had his stuff on cooldown, but he still dashed out and got away. And he chose to chunk out you instead because... So, since he could not chunk out the Nocturne, I'm assuming he must have had his abilities on cooldown. He said, well, Nocturne's a jungler. I don't have to deal with him. I'm going to chunk out the Garen that helps me in lane and then back. And like, by back, I mean like dash out to safety. So since he chunked out, if he, for example, if he chunked out the Nocturne, I'm telling you this because you can use this too on your own ganks. If he chunked out the Nocturne, well, the Nocturne just goes back to the jungle, and then you would still have this much health and just stay in lane. Since he chunked out you, now the Nocturne, because he's 3 levels down, is still going to go back to the jungle, but you have barely any health now. So now Renekton actually has a lane advantage because he was ganked, which was a very smart play by him. Again, he probably could have tried to just kill the Nocturne and get out, but he must have not had his abilities up to do that quick enough. So when his abilities did come up, he said, hey, I don't care about the Nocturne anymore. He's going to leave after this anyway. What I care about is lowering the Garen's health. That way it gives me a lane advantage once the Nocturne leaves. So you can try and use that too. Next time in like another game, if you're getting ganked, maybe you're on an aggressive champ and you're saying, hey, this jungler's not worth damaging because I'm not going to be able to kill him. Let me damage the laner, then get out, and that will give me an advantage when the jungler leaves and the lane resets. So he was able to turn a gank into killing advantage there. It's a lot of minions for use. Hopefully we can get most of these. Okay, that's fine. You got basically all of them. Alright, he's making that mistake again of going into tower range. So hopefully maybe we can recognize he's done that 3 times now. Maybe we can try and bait it out next time we get pushed under. Alright, so, hold on. So your Q silences, right? So the way you want to play trades in this Garen vs Renekton lane, go back. Your Q silences. So if he ever dashes to you and does not immediately stun you, your first reaction is not to walk away, it's to Q him. If you Q, like if Renekton dashes in and you Q Renekton, it's going to silence him and he's not going to be able to cast any of his other abilities. And also it gives you the movement speed buff. So after you Q him, now you run away, because that means A, you get the movement speed buff to run away easier so he can't just dash on you and follow you, and B, you silence him, again, to prevent him from dashing or using the stun or using his cleave, like his Q, right? So it limits the amount of damage that he can do to you because you're silencing him. It limits his ability to follow you because you're silencing him. It makes it easier for you to get away because you get the movement speed buff to run. And you're on top of that, you're getting trade damage back. He's gonna jump on you and chunk you out. You're gonna use your Q to chunk him out and then run away. If you just try to avoid it and run away, he's going to get some damage off on you, and you're going to do none to him. And then if you're low enough, because you didn't silence him, he's just going to dash on you and track you down and kill you. So always, 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 if he jumps on you, your first instinct is to cue him and then run. Always try to get damage off if you can, especially if you have an ability like a silence that can limit the amount of damage you can take. Here. So see how he dashed, but then wasn't in range to immediately do the stun on you? So he dashed and was like, crap, I'm a little too far away. You should have that split second cued him and then ran. You would have prevented taking any damage at all, and you would have done damage to him, and then he would have been silenced. Even though you don't have many minions left, he would have been silenced in your minions and taking the minion aggro, and he would have taken a little more damage too, because he wouldn't have been able to kill the minions. So that's one way we can play the trades better. Probably gonna focus mostly on the laning phase of this game, just because that's the most important one against the Renekton. Like, if you can survive lane, the rest of the game's pretty easy to play out as a Garen, so I might just speed through it a little bit. But this is the hard part of the game to do it. If you can figure this out, then it's gonna help you out a ton. Okay. This is good. You're gonna get this farm. I'd probably back here. I'd back here because see how you're oh, is it the other team actually? Can't use that. Why do I get the other team's pings? I try to have it on just your team's log of war information. Dragon's up. You know Dragon's up. And what your goal should be. Okay, so let me see. So you are 10 CS down, you're 1 kill down. And your jungler's doing okay. He's down in farm, but he's up in kills. Your mid laner's got 3 assists, but he's down in farm. Oh, how the fuck did your bot lane lose? Alright, that sucks. So your bot lane's KDA is fine, but he's 20 CS down onto Jhin into Vayne. That should never happen. So that really sucks. But basically, what you want to be doing here is, because you're a top laner, your TP's down, which kind of sucks. But you might need to rotate the dragon. So what that means is that because dragon is up and your jungler is going towards it, it looks like, and your bot lane just shoved in, so they have bottom lane priority. That's like the 1-2 combo for now rotating to dragon. So what you want to do is, since you don't have TP and you can't just stay top in TP, you just push the lane back out, and you saw Renekton go down here, whether he was warding or backed or rotating, doesn't matter. I would probably back here. If the wave crashes and you confirm that Renekton's not here, and your teammates look like they're, like, if they start pinging dragon, for example, I'd probably back here, buy your items, get something more than just ninja tap eye, and then now that you're in base, you have 2 options. If your teammates are trying to collapse on dragon, you can run right to dragon and help them out. And if not, then you just walk back to lane. Obviously, if you don't have anything to buy, I can't see your gold unless I'm just blind and there is a way for me to see it, and I'm just not thinking right now. But if you don't have enough gold to buy anything, then it's better to not back here and just try and stay top, but also keep the Renekton top. If you can keep the Renekton top, it keeps the dragon fight a 4v4. What really gets messed up is if the Renekton goes down here and then you just stay top, because you're not going to get anything worthwhile and your team's going to lose a dragon. So that's what you want to avoid. So if you think that Renekton... Okay, so yeah, you ping Renekton missing, that's good. If you think he's missing, you have to tell yourself, did he just back? Or did he try and rotate a dragon? Based on that, I don't see... Your team has decent vision down here. I don't see the Nidalee near the dragon pit. And I don't see either of their lanes trying to shove to get priority to then rotate down to dragon. I'm going to guess that they're not on it, and that Renekton is just backing for himself. Or he's maybe camping a bush trying to bait you. But you have to keep watching. Alright, now, hold on, that changes now. So now, you just saw Nidalee on the minimap. Nidalee is on the dragon. She just popped up. and your team's rotating with their bot lane, and your Nocturne's trying to crash. So it looks like your team is about to do dragon. At the very least, they're about to fight over it. So here, because your wave is just reset in the middle and you don't see Renekton, I would back immediately. Slash, I would have said, like, this goes back to what I said just like 10 seconds ago when you were over here, that if you backed, you would have been in the perfect spot to now run right here and help out. So yeah, let's see what happens. Your bot lane's fighting. Looks like they're gonna die. Yeah, so your bot lane dies, and now they're gonna, and Renekton TP's down or walks down, and now they're gonna get dragon for free. Okay, whoa, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Okay, this is a huge misplay. This is a gigantic misplay. You backing there. You never in a million years want to ever back in that situation. So I know you're maybe a little confused because a second ago I said you should have backed, but that was before the play happened. So if you backed when I initially said you should back, when you were like down here, when I was pointing out that your team looks like they're going to fight over dragon soon, so you want to back, that way you can buy and then run and help, that would have been a perfect time to back, because you would have backed, you would have bought your next item, and you would have ran this way, and you would have been there almost exactly on time for the fight that broke out. However, you didn't do that. So since you didn't back when you were here, and when you first saw Renekton leave lane, you should have backed immediately. For all the reasons that I just said, is that if you back immediately, the lane goes to the middle and stays there and resets. You get to buy your items, and then you get to be bot side when you would have noticed that your team was moving towards dragon for a fight, and you would have just ran to your team and helped the fight. That's exactly what Renekton did. Renekton is down here. He's right here right now. So exactly what I told you to do is exactly what the Renekton did. So you would have just completely matched him and potentially saved the fight. However, you didn't back. You chose to stay in lane. So now, since you chose to stay in lane, we created a different situation on the map. What we created is that in top lane, there's you, so there's one of you guys. In bot lane, you have 4 of your teammates and 5 enemies. Because there's a 4v5 bot lane and dragons up, and you know, because we just tabbed at the scoreboard, that if you're looking, I can't do that, damn it. If you're looking at these bottom 4 players, the Nocturne was ahead in farm, but not ahead in items. He's the exact same strength as the Nidalee right now. I mean, not farm, sorry. He was ahead in kills, but not in farm, which means the items were identical. They had the exact same strength. Malzahar is of similar strength than Azir, but the farm difference indicates that Azir is probably going to have push priority, which means Azir is probably going to rotate the fight first. Our bot lane, we noticed, was actually losing somehow. Remember I made the comment about how Jhin was behind the farm to the Vayne, which shouldn't happen. So we know that their bot lane has more pressure and kill potential than our bot lane does. So adding all that together, if we were to simulate a 4v4 just with these 4 people, the other team should probably come out on top. Now, if we make it a 5v4 and we throw the Renekton in the mix, the other team definitely comes out on top. So, by not backing and staying here, we're creating the 5v4, and we're basically saying, yeah, my team's going to lose the team fight and the dragon. So the only thing you can possibly do to try and make this not as bad is shove this lane as hard as possible and get turret plates. Again, this is not the ideal situation, right? Like, you should have backed when I first said to back, and you would have made this a 5v5 in bot, and it would have been a much different game in terms of this one play right here. But because you didn't back, you have to get something for the fight that your teammates are going to lose, right? If you don't get anything at all, now your teammates lost the fight, they lost their lanes, they lost their leads, and they lost dragon, and you did nothing. You were just sitting in base. That is the worst possible scenario. You didn't back when you should have to help the fight, and then you backed when you shouldn't have, ensuring that you got nothing for the lost team fight. When you back here, you are throwing away the the advantage the other team gets by winning the 5v5 and then getting dragon, that gives you a ton of free time to get something here. But instead you backed, getting nothing. So they got a huge advantage and your team got literally nothing, when you at least could have gotten a little bit of farm and turret plates and pressure topside. Hopefully that makes sense. But you backing here is completely inting. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but that was the worst play you could have made in this situation. Just because you're gonna get nothing out of it. Like, you could have gotten a ton. Look at all this shit you could have gotten. And even better, Renekton died. I'm not supposed to be, you couldn't see it in the game, but Azir was spam question mark pinging. So because that Renekton tower dove 3 different times in the lane, I'm assuming he did the same thing. I'm assuming he walked down there, tower dove, got stunned and died. The Azir spam pinged him and then they had to back off. Which means that now you have an extra 20 whole seconds. You could have just been sitting here getting free minion waves and getting free turret plates. You could have gotten so far ahead of the Renekton if you just stayed in lane and pushed. And it's not like there's no way you could have known he was going to die, because that's not the point. Like, the right play, even if he lived, was to stay in lane and push and get this wave and get a turret plate or 2. By the time he finished the fight, backed, and came back to lane, you would have probably gotten 2 turret plates and 2 waves. And on that alone, you would have either tied him in gold or gone ahead of him in gold. Now that he died, if you were in the right place doing the right play, you would have got at minimum a 3rd turret plate and probably 2 more waves. That's a freaking huge advantage, dude. 4 waves and 3 turret plates gives you a ton of XP and a ton of gold over Garen, which you just back, buy your next item, come back to lane, and now you're probably bullying him out of lane. Like this, I'm not trying to over-exaggerate. This play literally changes your whole game. So if you get nothing else out of this VOD review, try to understand why I'm talking about this so much and why I probably spent 5 minutes on this one play, because this quite literally changes your entire game. Like, there are moments in League where a 30-second span and what you do in that 30-second span affects the entire game, and this is one of those. You could have come out of this with a whole level of experience over Renekton and probably an item piece. And when I say item piece, I mean like a Caulfield's Warhammer, like one of the smaller items that builds into the bigger one. You could have come out a whole item piece ahead and probably a whole level ahead of Renekton, and then been bullying the crap out of him in lane, now that you have the advantage, and he's a Renekton who's behind. A Renekton who's behind is completely freaking useless. If you can get ahead of Renekton as Garen, you automatically win the lane. So try to be able to recognize why this is so important and what created this play. That way, next time you see it happen in game, you don't make the same mistake of backing and you take advantage of this, because this could have just completely won you the lane. And then if you have lane pressure, the whole game is different. But now this is just, nothing's gonna happen here. I'm just gonna sit here and let you watch like all the time that nothing happens now. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just like, this is like actually super important. Yeah, so let's see. So way ahead of us now. Yeah, so this is just unfortunate because now Renekton's a whole item piece ahead of us, and we're tied in level where we could have probably been a level ahead of him and an item piece ahead of him. Yeah, so this is now, you want to keep track of this. This is the 4th time he's just walked in tower range and taken 1 or 2 tower hits. Like, he just chunked himself for absolutely no reason. So because he's clearly doing that, and we can infer with just based on our knowledge of the game, that's probably how he died bot lane too. He's probably done this 5 times this game. So if you can try and you see the Nocturne here, what I'd be doing, Nocturne's here. Oh my god, that was Nocturne's here. What I would do is I'd spam ping Nocturne for help to come to lane, and I would try and stand near the edge of the turret, baiting him to jump in, because you know he's gonna jump in past turret range if you stand close enough. So if Nocturne can come and he jumps under turret and takes a turret shot or two to chunk him down, that's an easy gank, and you will turn this lane around. Okay, now hold on. Let's have it over here. So you see Renekton and Lily fighting. Malzahar's collapsing. Yeah, going to the 100%. They chase him. They're both dead. Yeah, it's a 3 kill. That's really good. I think I'm gonna speed through the rest of this laning phase and try and get to the team fights and rotations, because I think I've said enough on lane. Like, I think I've helped enough situations and corrected enough where if you make the changes that I said, you should be winning this lane pretty hard. So the rest of it's really not gonna matter. If I see like a really huge mistake that I can point out and talk about, I'll talk about it. But I think it's just gonna be more of the same of what I've seen so far. He hasn't really been able to kill you yet. You haven't been able to take advantage and get ahead of him. So I think it's just going to be the same thing back and forth for the rest of the laning phase. He's going to bully you and shove you in. You're going to farm under tower, and then it's going to reset just over and over again. So you see him rotate. So that's something to ping out. So you saw him rotate down here. You know he's probably not in your jungle because you just had the fight there a second ago. So there's a good chance he's roaming mid or rotating to Rift Herald. So I would go check Rift Herald and ping danger mid just in case he's there. Okay, yeah, no. This is bad. You need to check Rift Herald. So putting the ward here is like step 1. That's good. That's step 1. But step 2 is you need to keep walking, because if they are on Rift Herald, you need to see that now. And if you look at your Malzahar, remember, Malzahar has been being pushed in. Like he has less farm than the Azir, and he's a level down from the Azir. I can see it here, but you can see it on your screen too. So you know Malzahar is not going to be able to rotate safely. If he rotates out of mid, he just gets one shot and dies. If they are here, right? You as a Garen can rotate pretty safely though. So putting the ward here is like step 1. Step 2, you need to go here and check, because either A, Renekton and Italy are on or moving to the Rift Herald and you need to call that out, or B, they're not here, which means they're getting ready to gank the Malzahar, which is just as important because you need to notice that and then spam ping the Malzahar danger so he stays alive. One of those two things is happening, and let's peek, let's cheat and find out which one. So okay, so they're not on Rift Herald, but again, you would have known that if you go here and see, which means that Nidalee's in the area moving forward, and Renekton just probably, there's nothing to get here and he knows that, so maybe he's just trying to put wards down. And what that tells you is that, remember, we know that there's nothing here because we just fought in the river, and we know that Renekton knows that too because he was here. So if Renekton is going back and invading your blue side jungle, the only possible explanation is that he's trying to put a ward down. If he's trying to put a ward down here, that means he's trying to spot the jungler, which means he's probably going to rotate to Rift Herald right afterward, and he's putting the ward down here for protection in case the Nocturne rotates top. So these are all clues we get from, all you have to do is walk right here, and then if you see, so let's put this arrow, if you walk right here, you're going to have vision on this. That's either going to tell you yes, they're on it, or no, they're not. If they're not on it, let's say they're not, because that's what you would have found out, that gives you two options. Either A, they're both about to gank Malzahar, so you've got to ping Malzahar danger, or B, Renekton is currently getting vision, because again, there's only two ways he can be. You saw him walk down this way, which means if he's not here, he either has to have walked this way or he has to have walked this way. There's only two options, right? So he's either A, ganking Malzahar, or he's B, getting vision in your jungle. But vision in your jungle doesn't make sense, because you know that we all just fought there, so there's nothing left to take. However, if he wants protection from something else, that would also be a reason to get vision in the jungle. So this tells you when you walk down here and see them not on this, either A, they're ganking, or B, they're prepping for Rift Herald. And that's very useful information, because your Nocturne is going to, if he knows they're prepping Rift Herald, he's going to have to sprint top. If he doesn't know that, he might go bot, and then if he goes bot, you guys are screwed. You're going to lose the Rift Herald. So you don't go, so you don't see, so you don't know. Nocturne happens to go top, so that's good. That's lucky. And now Azir's missing too. So you see Azir down here, but we still don't see Renekton or Nidalee. You should be getting suspicious now. So I guarantee you that they're on Rift Herald now. So you should be getting suspicious that he never came back yet, because you know he didn't back. He just walked down. You saw him walk down the river. So you know that he's still somewhere over here. And the fact that Azir's gone means that they're not ganking. So since he's somewhere over here and they're clearly not ganking because Azir left, they have to be on Rift Herald. So now you know 100% undeniable proof that they are on Rift Herald, and you should be rotating to it. You should not be getting this tower right now. And let's double check. I can see the vision with this tool, but I'm betting money that they're on Rift Herald right now. Yep, and they are. So they're taking Rift Herald. So, and look how low she is too. But again, based on all of the clues I just explained to you, without even turning the vision on, I already knew they were there. So you have the same information I do. You should also already know that they're there. So what you need to do is not hit this tower. What you do is rotate to Rift Herald right now with Nocturne and Malzahar, and not only will you kill both of them, you'll get the Rift Herald if you rotate. If you don't rotate and you stay here, you're gonna get some damage on the tower, which means nothing because there's no plates anymore. It's past 14 minutes, so you're getting nothing, and they're gonna get a Rift Herald. Oh, dude, come on, don't back. Yeah, they just got it. All right.
Blue team double kill.
I mean, now you want to back, now that they've got the Rift Herald, but my point was, like, you should have rotated to it before pushing your lane out, because we knew they were there.
Shut down.
So you're King Dragon. What are you doing? Okay. So Renekton's here, which means he's not on your team, which is good. You should be tanky enough now where Renekton should not just be able to like one combo you, right? He's gonna take multiple trades to kind of wear you down and then go in for the all-in. So you should be in a much safer spot. So you saw him TP, right? You just saw him TP. You know he's fighting Dragon. This is the exact same situation that we had last time. The only difference is you have TP. So you have to make a choice. Either A, you're going to stay in lane and get the tower. That way, even if they win the team fight, remember, it's a 5v4 team fight in the enemy team's, actually 4v4, Azir's dead. So it's a 4v4 team fight in the enemy team's favor. You have to either say, A, I'm going to let you guys deal with the team fight on your own, and I'm going to take the tower. Or B, I'm going to teleport bot, try to win the team fight, and then take Dragon off of that. Because your team got the first Dragon, you're actually more incentivized to try and get another one. It doesn't matter too much early game, because one Dragon to one Dragon doesn't really change much. But if your team can get closer to getting 4, that's a win condition, so you want to always try and do that. So what you need to do, the very first thing you need to do is pan your camera down and look at the fight. So you see a 2v3 where your jungler and your Leona are getting engaged on. And then you see up here, and literally chasing your Malzahar. And your Jhin is about to come into the fight. So, if you can teleport on this ward and make this a 1, 2, 3, 4, because you'll join, versus a 1, 2, 3, that's huge. You teleporting here, the second that Renekton teleports down, again, this should be like, as soon as Renekton teleports, you know what's going to happen. If Renekton is teleporting, so I'll get to that point and pause it. Here, you see Renekton teleport on your screen. Even if you had locked camera, he was in the corner, so you see him teleporting. So the very second you see him teleporting, you have to tab your camera to the bottom. All right? You see him teleporting on this ward. What does that tell you? If he's teleporting here, that means you know he's going to collapse down on this fight. If he's going to collapse down on this fight, that means you want to teleport as well. Either here or here. You have two options. Honestly, either one works. I'd probably teleport here though, because if you teleport to this spot, let's say you teleport here, then the Vayne and the Nautilus are just going to turn on you, and you honestly might die before the fight even happens. So this is a bad teleport spot. So what you want to do is teleport here immediately. And now you can cut off Renekton, because Renekton is not going to engage on both you and a Nocturne. And with Renekton cut off, now you in Nocturne can both walk down with the Leona and trap these guys, giving Jhin enough time, where is he? Giving Jhin enough time to walk up and join the fight. But even when Jin's not there, it's still a 3v2, and then if Renekton comes, a 3v3. Like, that's still a good fight to take, knowing that Jin's coming. So the correct play here is to teleport to this ward and move down. But you don't do that because I know from watching you farmed the wave a little bit. So now that you've waited and farmed the wave, you pause here. I'm assuming you're now checking. It's still a good TP, but now it changes. You no longer want to TP here because you're behind the fight. Now you want to TP here because the fight's happening. So you want to get in there as soon as possible, and you're the tank boy. You want to take the aggro from your opponents, giving your teammates more time alive to do damage and more time for the Jhin to come up and help. So now you no longer want to TP here, but you still want to TP here. Okay, you did it. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I want you to do. Alright, good. So, I still think you should have TP'd sooner, but regardless, you still ended up making the right play. So I'm glad you did that. And notice what you did. So, this is exactly what you should have done last time. But last time, you didn't have TP. But instead of TP, it was just when you noticed Renekton left, backing and then walking. And the same type of thing would have happened. You would have been here for this fight, turned the fight, and gotten Dragon. So this is great. This is great. Now you want to take Dragon. So your team should be rotating to Dragon right now. Back to you. Okay. Sorry, it's been a very long video, so I'm trying to do it a little bit. But hopefully I've helped point some things out and correct some things. And on, for example, the TP play that you did, now you know why it was the right play, and I analyzed it a little bit for you. Okay, Ping Renekton missing. I don't know. Yep, try to rotate with him and get a pick, and then you can go on the Baron, maybe. What are you doing? Okay, got it. So the other team takes mid. Top pressure to mid pressure is a terrible trade right here because Baron's up, so you want top pressure. But it looks like they're on Dragon now. Yeah, so you're thinking Dragon. Your team's going over to fight it. Your goal is to try and isolate one of their squishy carries so Nocturne can jump on it. And you want to... Okay, good. Good. You play that really well. Nice. Okay. Dragon. Looks like your team does pretty well for a bit, so I'm gonna... You get Baron here. I'm gonna skip ahead and try and find out where it goes wrong and see if I can help. Your team does really well, but I don't... Ah, found it. Alright, that's where we're wrong. So, let's analyze this. So, it looks like your team gets really cocky. You and Nocturne are both topside. I don't know why the hell Nocturne's farming. He doesn't need to be here. You are doing fine by split pushing top. He should be in the middle here with the team. Also, honestly, Garen can split push. He's not the best split pusher though. You're better as being the meaty front line for your team. This is a very interesting dynamic. I'd probably do this. I'd probably have Nocturne split push because he can use his ult to rotate to the fight whenever he needs to. And I'd have you go mid and join your team. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you are the front line. You're the tank. The Malzahar and the Jhin, if they are fighting without you there, they're just going to get jumped on by the Renekton and die. So, or picked out by the Nautilus and then die to the Vayne and the Azir. So, you need to be with your team if they're going to fight. Nocturne does not, because Nocturne has his ult. Nocturne can join your team whenever he wants. So what should be happening here is Nocturne should be split pushing top, and you should actually be with your team grouped mid. And that will make sure someone is split push. Farming jungle is stupid. No one should be doing this. He should be top split pushing and pinging you off of it. And you should be going mid to help be frontline for your team to keep them safe. If you are sitting here, I guarantee the other team does not jump on this and collapse. And then Nocturne is still pushing top. So eventually they're going to have to answer Nocturne. Or if they do jump on this and collapse, Nocturne presses R and ults in. And now it's a 5v5. Because since you're there, they're not going to be able to just delete the Jhin and the Malzahar. They're going to have to fight you first, which gives Nocturne time to come and turn the fight. So that's what should be happening. You should be here, and Nocturne should be still pushing. Yeah, and that's what happens. Jhin gets really cocky and does not realize the Renekton's range of dashing. He steps too far up. Because there's no front line here to help your teammate, he just is going to get deleted, I guarantee it. And then Nocturne's realizing too late, oh shit, I shouldn't have been farming, and he's gonna rotate really late, nothing's gonna change. And you're gonna split push top, but you're again, like, you don't need to be split pushing. Like, your main strength is being a tank and having peel for this guy and this guy. So you should be in the fight right now. You shouldn't be here. If you were maybe a Jax or a Tryndamere or like just other like split pushing bruiser top, sure, you're probably better off split pushing here, but you're not. You're a Garen. You need to be saving your team right now. Yeah, now that your team gets run over, you want to take the tower. But you want to leave. You're gonna get caught. That was really bad. So. Mistake number 2. Once your team all dies, you know for a fact that their entire team's going to rotate to you topside. So you want to take this tower and then leave ASAP. Even if that means teleporting back, if you absolutely have to. But you shouldn't have had to. You should have been able to take it and leave. You stayed way too long, gave the other team a lot of time to catch up to you, and then you guys died. Getting that dive kill on Azir is not worth it at all, because now all 5 of you are dead, and they're going to push the waves back up and get vision on the map and kind of start taking control here on out. And if you look at the scoreboard in the bottom, that's exactly what happens. They use this fight. If you isolate the rest of the game and ignore it, from this exact fight, what happens? They start taking control. So this is the moment where you lost the game right here. It's this whole play. So I'm honestly probably not even going to watch the rest of it. I'm going to speed through it. But like this play is what turned the tides and the momentum flipped from you guys being in favor to them being in favor. And it was just because you should have been middle and not split pushing as Garen. Your Nocturne should have been split pushing and not farming as Nocturne. Your Jhin should not have stepped up and got caught by the Renekton. And then when all that did happen, you should have taken the turret and then pieced, and you didn't. You stayed and you inted with your Nocturne. You both died. That chain of events, which two bad decisions by you and one bad decision by 3 different teammates, just lost you guys the game. And again, you can't control the teammates. Like, you can't control the Nocturne not splitting, but maybe you can ping him in lane as you walk down. You can't control the Jhin not inting by stepping too far up to the Renekton, but if you were here with him, he wouldn't have stepped in front of you. So you would have indirectly saved him just by being down here. So you can't control your teammates messing up, but if you made the right decisions, it would have actually probably like all the pieces would have just molded into place, right? And your teammates would have ended up in the right spot too. The Jhin would have inted, the Nocturne would have stayed top and gotten the farm that you were getting, and everything would have worked out better. And 2, here, if you left when you should have after the turret, Nocturne's not staying here 1v4. He's gonna leave with you. Or if he does, at least only Nocturne dies, and at the very least, you get out free, right? So those are all decisions that you should have made that hopefully now you're able to see it in the review and you can learn from it. Like I said, I'm going to speed through this because this is just, they just take over the game from here. It's pretty straightforward. They're going to get Dragon. They're going to get some more inhibitors, towers. So they get Dragon. So Jhin's getting really cocky and steps up. Yeah, so this Jhin just beat him right there. That kind of sucks. Okay, so in a situation like this, Jhin just threw the game. Jhin just stepped up in front of both you and Leona. He got Nautilus ulted, Nautilus Q'd, and then immediately collapsed on because he's freaking stupid. But the point is, you were only in the position to let Jhin throw the game in the first place because we made mistakes on the previous play of where we were. If we played the previous play correctly, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. And that's the best advice I can give, because there is nothing you can do there. The Jhin just literally inted. He walked way up when he never should have been, and he just inted the game. However, you can't control this, but if you played the previous situation better, the Jhin would not have been in the spot to int the game away. And that's the best advice I can give you. And that's literally, you can't do anything about this exact play, but if you fix the old plays, we would have avoided it. And this is the moment where the game's lost, so I'm just You don't even play the fight particularly badly. The Jhin just inted, and once the Jhin ints, you guys lose the fight automatically. Especially because Nocturne was bot, it never came, so it was a 4v5 the whole time. Yeah, I'm just gonna, this game's over at this point. Alright, so you guys wanna fight, and come back. You guys come back, and now the game's pretty even. So let's see what we can do the next fight. Try to analyze that a little bit.
Shut down.
Oh, what the fuck are they doing? That sucks. So your bot lane just died. They were in your jungle for some reason when Dragon was up. Okay, it's not up. That's gonna be it. Yeah, that just sucks. Your bot lane shouldn't have been here. I don't know why they were. So they get picked off. Now it's a 3v5. They're just going to take Dragon in the game. Yeah, that blows. Again, I'm gonna tell you a similar situation as I did last time. There's nothing you can directly do to help your bot lane from not inting there, but what you could have done indirectly was played previous plays right. Imagine if you did everything I said in the video. You would have gotten a lead from Garen at like 7 minutes into the game. You would have bullied, not Garen, sorry, from Renekton. You would have bullied Renekton the whole game. This extra pressure would have allowed you to invade the jungle the whole game, getting vision, getting pressure, securing the Rift Herald. You guys could have got the Rift Herald instead of them. If you had this pressure on Renekton, you would have forced him to use his TP just to get back to lane to farm, which means he wouldn't have had TP to go down and affect that fight later on. Like, see how like one decision can snowball into a bunch of other effects happening, kind of like a domino effect type thing. And then even like I said before, that one big play where you should have came here, Nocturne should have done this, and this whole team fight changes. Especially if you were stronger from playing the lane better, you probably might even win this fight without the Nocturne, right? Like, so just the best advice I can give you is if you play that early game better and you play that mid game better with like the rotations and the decision making, or like when you could have spotted out that they were doing Rift Herald and rotated to it and stopped it, all these little things add up and they change the course of the game. And when you get to these late game team fights, all those little things earlier completely change these, because now people, like, you would have been stronger than the Renekton. Renekton wouldn't have had the lead to freely roam and leave lane. Your teammates would have been more willing to go in on you and stay behind you because you would have been ahead. You would have been exerting more pressure on the map. You guys would have probably got Rift Herald at the very minimum, stopped them from getting it. Like, all these little things add up, and like, you're not even going to be in this late game team fight for Dragon because the game is going to be in a completely different state if you play the early game better. So that's the best I can give you. I know this has been a really long video, so I do apologize for that, but I like to get in depth and really explain it because I think that's what helps the most, is when you actually understand why to do something, not just to do it. So hopefully this helps, dude. I can look at the scoreboard of the game, just kind of, and they just run it down and end the game from here. But I hope this helps. I hope you can improve on, like, take this stuff and apply it to your next games. And if you do and you have more questions, just come back to me and I will be happy to answer them. All right. Good luck, dude.